Oh, sorry about that. Maybe you thought for a second that the stream was over before it had even began. But no. Fortunately, you're going to have to watch me struggle around for another hour and a half at least. Wow, is my video really out of sync here? I don't know what happened in the time that I tested it before the stream started and then right now. But let me get that checked out real quick. Hello, how is everyone doing today? Good God. Give me 1 second. Any better? Terrible. All right. Well, I can't stop the stream now, so I guess we're gonna have to deal with the AV delay. Anybody notice that? It's just me? Am I being too sensitive? So hi. Welcome to System Crafters Live. This is the typical way it goes on Fridays, where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic that I've come up with and deal with technical problems for about 15 minutes before the actual stream content gets started. I'll tell you why things are a little bit weird right now. I've been rearranging my desk setup this week because I have to start using 2 computers at the same time. We'll get into that, the details about that a little bit more in a minute. But because of that, I've moved one computer that I normally use on this side to the other side, and I've had to like redo all my wiring to get the stream going today. And it's been a little bit challenging, but I think it's okay now. I mean, obviously the video is a little bit off, but that's my fault because I had trouble getting OBS to actually connect to Restream to start the stream right now. It's really weird. Like I tried to start the stream and it just kind of sat there. It didn't start transmitting anything and I'm scratching my head. So I restart OBS and apparently that's what did the video out of sync issue, basically restarting OBS. So don't restart OBS. That's the thing that I learned about from all this. Right before the stream, do not restart OBS because you may end up in a state where your camera is out of whack. I see Summer's trying to troll the chat again with the 15 million emojis. She's sending me coded messages because I'm apparently her CIA handler. And this is how we communicate. It's through just emoji semaphore. So thank you, Summer, for sending me whatever that says, because I don't remember. I didn't actually study the field manual, so I don't know what these things mean. I'm a little bit too lazy, if you haven't noticed. Like I wait till the very last minute before I do anything, and then everything goes to hell. But it's okay because I do have the gumption to stick with it and to keep moving forward, and you know, make it work. Minus 244. Is that how long it's delayed, Cal? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the stream anymore. I kind of feel like I got to stop streaming on YouTube because YouTube's so slow. Summer says, it says Apple MacBook and Dave is a MacBook user. Not by choice. If I had a choice, I would not be. Okay, so first of all, I'm coming down off of a virus that I've had since last week. And if my voice sounds a little bit weird, it's because I just got my voice back like a day ago. Before that, I was squeaking like a 14-year-old. So it's a good thing that you didn't have to hear that. I probably wouldn't have had to stream if I was still in that state. But yeah, my voice, excuse me, my voice might go at some point. If it does, we'll just see how much we can tolerate that. Okay, so let's say hello to the people who are here so far. Fade, Glenn, Summer, Jeff, Beach Owl. Let's see, who else? Arnaud. Let's see. Scroll. Erky's here. Big Edie's here. Peter's here. Auntie's here. Cal's here. Yes. Glenn says David Will forgot his decoder ring. Yes, I sure did. Also, hello on the YouTube side to Jerry, to Mike, to Seek, and to Anita Max Code. Anita Max Code says, I wanted to say thank you for your great Emacs series. It helped me a lot to get into Emacs. Well, that's great to hear. Thank you. I always like hearing that. Hello to Zaman. Auntie says, no inode issues this time, though. Thank God. Man, that was a mess. I was trying to remember what happened last week. What hell I had to go through that last time. And this time, I didn't have that same problem. But I could have. Very easily could have. This is the way things go here. There's always something, it seems. in the realm of system crafting. You know, things can always go wrong at the most inopportune moment, but it's really about the you know, overcoming challenges and feeling like you actually gained something in the process, which I never really feel like I gained anything in the process, but I don't know, at least I can joke about it, you know, get a couple minutes worth of laughs out of it. I don't know if anybody's laughing. I'm kind of like crying on the inside, but I don't hear the music. Does anybody hear the music? Probably just because I have the volume set lower now in Pulse Audio volume control after last week, because that was yet another problem that I had. You hear that thunk, thunk, thunk? Last week the music wasn't playing correctly, so all kinds of weird issues. All right, so everybody good? Everybody have a good week. You know, it's Friday. Some of you it's Friday morning for you. It's Friday afternoon for me. I've been sweating all day. If I look a little bit glossy, it's because it was 36 degrees Celsius in Athens today. Redacted says no music. I wonder if things are too low in OBS again. Oh, wow. Very interesting. There is no music. Desktop audio. How about now? I think I see waveforms. We'll see how that goes. All right. So what was I saying? Yeah, it's been 36 degrees Celsius in Athens, which I know is a laugh for Glenneth, where he's at. It's probably been 45 Celsius. I don't know what the temperature is where Glenneth's at, but it's pretty bad there. But pretty bad here too. I've been sweating my ass off all day. Still no music. Hey, Rudy. I barely hear it. I barely hear it. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. MPV. I turn up the MPV volume. They've got the right output device. Thunk. Sound in general is a little low. Thanks, Big Edie. I think the mic is okay. I don't know why the desktop audio is so low, though. Maybe try restarting a computer. Yes, thank you, Alternate Ved. I'm going to try to restart my computer. If there's one thing I shouldn't do right now, is restart my computer. This is going to cause everything else to go to hell, as it already has done. Let's see. What did I miss here? Peter says, I spent 2 days searching for a script, finally found it in a temp folder right after I deleted it. Yeah, I love it when that happens. Maybe do a Guix pull? No. Last thing we need is a Guix pull. So maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I tried updating to the latest Guix because I was trying to use the new non-Guix servers, non-Guix substitute servers. And when I installed the system update and rebooted my system, I couldn't log into my user account anymore. I don't know what happened. But I had to roll that back. Luckily, I can do that in Guix. I just ran Guix system rollback, and everything was good. But a little bit scary. Faye says, is it even a system crafter stream if we don't Guix pull? I'm not going to use the MacBook Pro, Summer. Arno says, I hear a man hearing music. I barely hear the music. I can't make it louder right now, unfortunately. Hello to RobyDev and to Artie. Okay. Now I have to keep looking back and forth. I have laptops on both sides. I have chat on both sides. It's quite annoying, I have to tell you. I'm going to have to work on the setup a little bit more because it's not doing so well at the moment. It was late, so it's definitely a System Crafter stream. It wasn't that late, maybe 5 minutes. Give me a break. It's been way worse than that recently. Once or twice. Okay, so I didn't actually make the stream notes before we started the stream up here, so you're going to watch me do that now. Scintillating, I have to say, scintillating. Let me see. Let's pull up our last show notes. There we go. There's June 20th. Yeah, I don't know why it takes so long for it to load up a friggin' org file, but that's the state we're in at the moment. So this is June 27, not 28, 27, 2025.org. Beachhouse says, are we going to get a crafted Mac OS stream? No way we are not. Let's talk about keyboards. Let me hit that default text scale increase a couple times also. All right. And then this is June the 27th. The 27th. And I'll grab that YouTube link from over here. There it is. All right. So news. There's something interesting that happened that I saw today. Seek says 5 minutes delay is no delay for South Asians. How's that? I see some tadas happening in the chat right now, which is kind of funny. Summer says Leonix wants a crafted Mac OS stream. I don't. I don't want one. I'm very sorry. So let's see. Bostodon. I gotta look up this post because I don't remember exactly where it was. Okay. So, Hilton Chain, who's a member of the Guix community and quite prolific in terms of the things he cranks out on Guix packages and other good stuff, today announced on the Fediverse that he's put together some new live CDs for installing Guix system. And this kind of follows along with an idea that I've had, which I never really got back around to, which is to produce a more streamlined ISO for installing Guix that is good for manual installation steps. So that if you kind of are already an experienced Guix install or Guix user and you know how to install a system, you can get into a more comfortable environment that already has the 9 Guix channels configured and just set up your internet, your Wi-Fi, and then just get the configuration installed on the machine. So Hilton has put together a couple of images here. One of them I think is purely just a console environment or terminal environment, which is live console here. And there's another one that's live desktop. You can take a look at the screenshots here to see what the desktop looks like. This is actually a minimal tiling window manager setup, which is good enough for just a live CD installer desktop environment, which is cool. You got a full Emacs and some other things, NeoVim, if you happen to be a heretic and you want to use that. Also, Thunarth file manager. Why would you need that if you just open up Emacs? Okay, like just have Emacs be the window manager, maybe. I don't know. Big Edie knows what I'm talking about. Anywho, this is actually a pretty cool project. I'm imagining that he's going to keep these more up to date than the System Crafters non-Guix installation images that I've made. Mainly because the GitHub action that I have that automates the generation of those images just doesn't work anymore. So maybe this is a better option for you if you want to go ahead and install Guix another way. Can I find this on the original server to link to it? Where's the link to the original server? Can you give me the link to the original server? Go open original page. Thank you. I'd rather link directly to it. Okay, so we'll put that here. What does he call himself? Anyway, let's say Hilton Chain has put together some new minimal Guix installation ISO images that you might want to check out if you're an experienced YouTuber, or maybe not so experienced. I don't know. Maybe you check it out anyway. So we'll grab the link right there, and you can check out also the configuration that was used to generate these at Hilton's repository, which is right here. We've mentioned Hilton's Rosenthal repository before. I think it's a channel, and we were installing, yeah, Rosenthal. We were installing, what's that thing called? The waifu desktop environment. Hyperland? Is that it? You can tell how much I've used it since then. Anywho. But you can check out the configuration there and take a look at that if you want to. Don't you love watching me type? It's great. Okay. Acknowledge us. Summer wants to be acknowledged as Mac OS users. I acknowledge that MacBooks exist because one is sitting next to me right now. I will not acknowledge that it's something that I want to use, even though I have to use it. I'll mention that in a minute. Let's see. Peter says, how is Guix for Mac going nowadays? I don't know how that's going. That was called Mac OS Subsystem for Guix, I believe. New update for MSG. Where's the original page, though? Move from GitLab to Pagure. I don't know what that is. MSG CLI. I don't think this is really moving. Okay, so Chad has updated this 4 months ago. Oh, wait. It moved again. Where's the commit? Oh, 3 months ago. Okay. So, I mean, relatively recent progress on that. So maybe it's fine. But yes, that is a thing. I don't know. It's basically to make it easy to run Guix in a VM on a Mac, which I might still try. I don't know. If it works, I would try it. Because, Mac OS is there. The environment is there. I'm not really a fan of it. Monosodium glutamate. That's right, Mike. It is very unhealthy to use this. I mean, putting Mac OS and Guix together sounds pretty unhealthy in general. It says there's Asahi Guix project for Mac if you didn't already know. Oh, yeah, I know about that for sure. I just don't know if I'm allowed to use it. Because I've been given a MacBook for a reason. Let's see. Night8K says, I have no audio. It's like I'm using Guix on a Mac or something. Yes, it is like that. Andy says, file manager. He already has NeoVim and Emacs. Yes, that's right. Tenno says, that broke because the ISO went over 2 gigabytes. Yeah, that is one of the problems for sure. There was other problems too, I think. Tenno says, post a link to the chat. I have ThinkPad that needs nuking and Guix reinstall. Let's see. There you go. I think that works. I had to type that out on another machine, so. Fade says, are they making you use Xcode? No. Thank God. I mean, I have to install it so I could do things like use Git, but other than that. Peter says Nix works, or at least worked pretty well on OS X. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, but still, like, I don't really care too much about Nix. Like, what I want, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Have I gotten everything from the other side too? All right, so today's topic, let's talk about keyboards. I'm no expert on keyboards, but I'm going to talk about what I wanted to try to accomplish, or what I think would be interesting, and I would like to hear everyone's feedback and ideas on how this could be possible, or just, things in this realm, basically. So it's not so much a stream of me telling you things that I know. It's more of me going through a process of investigation with you to solve a particular problem that I have decided that I have. And then from there, we'll just see what the options are and just talk about keyboards in general, because keyboards are fun. Why not? Peter says, oh, keyboards, exciting. Well, that sounds kind of sarcastic, Peter. I don't know. Is it sarcastic or genuine? Excuse me. So, anywho, why are we talking about this? Well, first of all, for various reasons, I have an employer who is sending me a laptop. Bay says, man, famously happy with the worst keyboard made in the past 10 years, starts asking about keyboards. What are you talking about? The ThinkPad keyboard? The ThinkPad compact USB keyboard? I love that thing, dude. Okay, my employer has sent me a MacBook. All right. Problem is, now this is going to be a very weird, twisty-turny story, a little bit. Hey, Gun. But you'll understand why in a second. Come on, Fade. Give me a break. So, the company has to send me a MacBook. I live in Greece. Apparently, Greece has some weird arrangement with Apple that you can only buy a MacBook or other Apple device in a retail store within this country. can't buy one on the Apple.com website, have it sent. So I cannot get the normal MacBook that the employer wants to send all employees. I have to get one from a store here. So why is that a problem for me? Well, there is one big problem, which is I have to have a laptop with a Greek keyboard, which is not so bad because it still has English letters on the keys at the same time, but the layout is all different, and the freaking shift key is tiny, and the enter key is tiny. Like the targets are way over on the sides, okay? I'm not really thrilled about this because I have grown very accustomed to how wide the shift key and the enter key is on ThinkPad keyboards, and I do not get RSI because I don't have to do all kinds of weird reaching, but now I might have to because of this laptop keyboard. Now I also have one of these fancy little Magic keyboard things too. Where's the camera? These fancy little Magic keyboard things as an external keyboard, but it also has very, very small shift key and very narrow enter return key. It's kind of hard to see that. Those of you who live in Europe probably are already aware of this because I'm guessing this is more of a Europe keyboard layout thing. But to me, it's not gonna fly, man. Like I have to be able to use a normal US style keyboard, because otherwise I think I'm gonna end up straining my fingers trying to type on that thing. Okay, so that's problem number one. Problem number one, I do not like the Greek layout MacBook keyboards. All right, it's pretty awful. Nintendo says that's the ISO layout. Yeah, I don't like that. No ANSI options. Yeah, so I really don't like that. I prefer the US keyboards. Now I still have my trusty ThinkPad compact USB keyboard. I actually have two of them, but one of them is kind of busted. So I have the only one that left that I can use, but it's actually not that easy to buy a new one now because Summer says you can order an American keyboard layout in the Apple Store. I do. I don't really want another Mac keyboard though, okay? I don't want another Apple keyboard. I'd rather have something else. Not to say that Apple is terrible or anything. It's just like, let me try to solve the real problem here. So, yes, I can't get another one of the keyboard that I actually use very easily to have two of the same keyboard because I have to use two computers simultaneously. So let me roll back a little bit to give a little bit more context. You know, I have my nice Framework 13 laptop that I use for my personal stuff. I'm planning to keep that stuff separate from the work computer, so no crossover there. So that means I'm gonna have two computers on my desk that I will be using throughout the day, right? The obvious thing is you gotta have two keyboards. Well, I don't like having mice on my desk at all. What I do have is one of these touchpad things, right? The Magic touchpad, whatever they call it. I don't know, trackpad. Sure, fine, whatever. That's fine. But I don't want to have to move my hand to use the mouse. I'm used to using the track point. I've been using it for years now. I think like at least 6 or 7 years I've been primarily track point. Beachshell says the real problem is David wants a new keyboard. No, actually I don't want to have to change what I'm doing, but there's a number of factors here that is kind of forcing me to look at options. So I have to have two keyboards on the desk at the same time. So problem number two. I have to use two keyboards for two computers at the same time. And I do not want a mouse on my desk because that's just more stuff to have around that gets knocked off. Peter says the Ultimate Hacker keyboard has a trackball option. You will have to tell me about that when we get into the listings. Rudy says Apple keyboard has only one control key. Yeah, that's pretty weird, right? I don't really use more than one control key, but hey, you know, why not have two? Excuse me. All right, so that's problem number two. Rawad says, why not a KVM switch? We will get into the other possible options too, that's for sure. Redacted says, problem number 0, employer uses Apple products. It's so common though, man. If it's not like a massive company, if it's like a smaller tech company, typically they're using primarily MacBooks. So it's kind of hard to get away from that. All right. So I have to use 2 keyboards. I don't really want to use 2 keyboards. I'd rather use 1 keyboard and no mouse. All right. So the ideal goal, 1 keyboard shared between 2 computers with no mouse. Doesn't have to be track point, but no mouse, no external mouse. Okay, that's what I'm looking at right now. Now, I'll tell you, there's 1 keyboard out there that perfectly solves this problem. Perfectly solves this problem. But number 1 problem with that keyboard is it costs 400 euro. It looks pretty cool. I think I've talked to people about it on the chat in the IRC before. HHKB Studio. So this thing looks pretty awesome. I mean, I would basically spend 400 euro on this thing pretty much instantly because it has a track point built in, it has mechanical keys, and it has up to 4 simultaneous Bluetooth connections to other machines at the same time that you can switch between with a key press. So, yeah, this would be great, except for the fact that it costs so much money. And the reviews have been pretty mixed about whether the keyboard is any good. Now, I don't know who originally owned the Happy Hacking keyboard company to start with, right? But apparently they're owned by the Ricoh printer company now. And I'm not really sure if that's a good thing. Peter says, I have an HHKB, love it. Not that one though. Jeff says, I have 2 HHKB light USB keyboards, love them. How old are they? Are they relatively new or are they old? And how long has Ricoh owned this company? Fade says the original ones are too small. They were owned by PFU. Well, PFU, I think, is the European distributor. I know that they say that to buy their stuff, you have to buy it through PFU in Europe. Fade says the switches are excellent. Somebody said that the switches on this particular one are not Topre. Okay, Jeff says plus 10 years. That makes sense. Let's see. Where is the specs? Where are the specs? Mechanical switches. You're not telling me what kind they are, though. Oh, did I see MX? MX. Nope. Compatible with standard profile MX 3-pin or 5-pin mechanical switches. Support switches made by Cherry, Gatoron, and Kale. Kale? Peter says, not Topre. What is the point? Yeah, I don't know why it would be different on this one, but that seemed to be a complaint that I saw in a couple places. Now, I don't know if I care that much because I am not an aficionado when it comes to all the fancy mechanical keyboards. I mean, I've literally been using this ThinkPad USB keyboard thing for a long time. That thing. And I quite like it. It's not a great keyboard, but it gets the job done, and it was fairly cheap. Fade says if you're not getting Topre switches are likely the better option. So what's the deal with Topre? Tell me about Topre. What is it? What's so good about it? Is it the weight? Is it the movement of the key press? Is it the sound? What is it? Because I don't know. Redacta says, so you're using your stream to outsource a purchasing decision? No, not really. Because I feel very uncomfortable buying this particular keyboard, even though it solves the problems that I have so perfectly. Peter says, Topre is like a giant rubber dome with a capacitive switch. Oh, wow, that's interesting. But it feels good. They're incredibly smooth. Unique switches feels very, very good under your hands. I would like that. I would certainly enjoy using a nicer keyboard. They have a nice feedback and fuck. I'm used to the crappy chiclet keys of the ThinkPad keyboard. It's kind of fine. Trash on the Twitch side says Ergo split KB not required. I don't really use split keyboards. I use normal keyboard layout. Now, I realize that considering an HHKB means I'm not going to have a normal keyboard layout because the 60% layout reduces a lot of the keys or moves them around. That's something I've accepted. I'm going to have to do that. Yogi says, I heard they feel good to type on, but not big on the sound. Too scratchy for my taste. Yeah, the sound isn't really a big thing for me. Like, I don't want to like have funky keys like an IBM classic keyboard. I don't really need to have that loud sound. In fact, I think it would probably drive people in my house crazy. So I'd rather not do that. Quieter keys are probably a good thing for me. Fade says 75% keyboards are kind of the minimum useful size for heavy Emacs use. Is it because it's missing certain keys or they're in like a weird position for the key bindings? All right, let's see. Jeff says, but the mechanical HXKB keyboards are pretty dang expensive. Yes, they're quite expensive. Quite expensive. Peter says, but also look at the ultimatehackingkeyboard.com. So let's see this. Ultimatehackingkeyboard.com. I like that little thumb nub there. That's cool. It would take some getting used to probably for me, though. I don't know if you can use your index finger on that. The keyboards for professionals. Integrated palm rest. I mean, this seems good from an ergonomic standpoint. Normal QWERTY. Mouse button. Oh, that's a trackball. That's cool. What is this one? Is that a tiny trackball? Why is there a mouse button? What does that do? Precision mouse control at your thumbs without leaving the home row. That sounds great. Oh, they have a track point module and a trackball module. That's cool. That's neat. You can kind of plug in whatever you want. Increased ergonomics. I would consider it. How expensive is this thing, though? And does it ship? Oh, it's made in the EU? That's not too bad. How much does it cost for me? All right, that's better than the other one. Case color. Oh, I have to get that mustard. Hell yeah, look at that. That's some true hacker stuff right there. US plain ANSI. I kind of like the blacked out keys a little bit. Okay, so what do they have? What is the keycaps? Regular brown, regular blue, box brown, silent brown. I don't know what all these are. Tactile, linear, clicky, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Cool, that's something to look at. Let me scroll down a little bit here to see what's in the chat. Yes, I see you, Summer, talking about the moon lander. We'll look at that too, so give me a second. Yogi says, then you should go for linear silence or something like that. That's probably good advice. Jerry says, I have an external keyboard mouse switcher. It permits 4 inputs to switch among 4 computers. If you got one of those, you'd only have to find the perfect keyboard that doesn't have PC switching. Does it deal with USB-C? Is there like a KVM for USB-C? Dave says, I use brown switches. Box has more stability. What does that mean, Peter? What does stability do? Redacted says, Summer Emacs, you're not sponsored by Apple and Moodlander, are you? No. He's just a hardcore enthusiast. Yes, she says, I'm sponsored by Good Taste and Experience. Jeff says, I like brown switches. It means a cat doesn't rock side to side. I do like that because wobbly keys, nobody wants that. Let's see. Rudy is saying, commonly recommended split ergos look at are Dactyl, Kinesis. I know Kinesis is expensive. Glove 80. I think that I heard Glenn talk about that, and Moonlander. All right. Thank you, Peter. And obviously, thank you to Rudy for the suggestions of the names. All right, so let's look at Moonlander keyboard just to make Summer happy, because Summer's going to keep spamming the chat with links as if this is some kind of sponsored stream until I look at it. This definitely looks like a mechanical keyboard that a Mac user would want to have. Doesn't it? It looks like a medical device. Like you would see this in a surgical office or something. I don't think it's a good thing necessarily. Used by product managers? Hell no. I'm not buying this thing. The first thing I saw is it said used by product managers. Am I a product manager? Is this what's happening to me now? I have to buy product manager keyboards. Rudy says, I'm typing with box pinks on Kinesis. Amazing feel and sound. Wow, they got DistroTube on here giving reviews. Two halves. Is there a mouse thing built into this sucker? Mouse? Unplug the right side, give your mouse some room to roam. I don't want to use a mouse. Check the Voyager from the same people. Thank you, Glenn. I trust what Glenn says. Ah, well, it just puts me straight to the Voyager. Okay, that's more minimal. That's cool. Powerful, low-profile, split ergonomic keyboard. Glenn, what are you using right now? Available now. See the Voyager in action. How much does it cost? I mean, it looks cool, but can I do mousy things with it? $365. Boy. Extra thumb keys. Yeah, there's no mouse in this thing. I mean, can I put one of those... Can I put a firmware in it that has a mouse layer? Yeah, okay. Peter says you can do mousy things on a layer with the keys, but not great. Yeah, that's... Excuse me, that's the thing. I feel like having a layer for mouse movement keys is interesting, but there's going to be a lack of precision. Summer says, what's this mouse thing? I have to make graphics too, Summer. I have to like click around in things. I have to go use websites. Some things require a mouse. Beach House says, why not get a small trackball for next to the keyboard and widen your choices? I don't know. I mean, maybe. Maybe. I don't want to have to move my hands, though. If I had a split ergo keyboard with a trackball in the middle, that might work. It says if you have a Mac, you have a rodent infestation. Yeah, you definitely can't do much mouse-driven keying on that. Or keyboarding. Keyboard-driven usage. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Install Vimium in Chrome. Yeah, you don't need to solve my problems right now, Summer. I have a very specific thing I'm looking at. I appreciate it, though. Yogi says if you have access to a 3D printer, you can make your own. Dude, I don't even have backups on my machine. I don't have a 3D printer around. Summer says, I'm a little disappointed. David Will is less hardcore than I thought he was. Why do I have to be hardcore? Why can't I just be like a software addict and not a hardware addict? All I want to do is be in the computer all day, okay? I don't really want to look at the computer. I don't really want to have to touch things other than my keyboard. Glenn says, I have my trackball in the middle. That makes sense. What kind of trackball do you have? Anyway, okay, so there's the Voyager and the Moonlander as options, but I'm not really crazy about either of them, I think. Denno says, I have the Atreus variant with integrated trackball in the middle of two sides. Didn't work well. My regular MX Ergo by side is much easier to use. What is the MX Ergo? Redactus says, less hardcore from someone who uses Mac. I don't know. Come on. Is it the Logitech? Holykeebs.com. Products / Horn Chalk. That looks kind of cool. Damn. That looks very unusual, which is why I'm kind of taken by it. Look at that thing. Look at that track point. I'm all about that. I like the purple keys too. Where did it go? Come back. $27? Come on, did I have to build this thing? Are you making me build this thing? Okay, assemble. Thank you. Does it ship to Europe? Free worldwide shipping. Okay. Oh, okay. MX Ergo is a Logitech trackball mouse. MX Ergo mouse. Thank you. Ah, that one. Yeah. Get out of here. See you, Blinky Bob. Let's do a building stream. I was going to do that with a framework, but then I chickened out. It's going to be too much trouble. Corn choke? Is that how you're supposed to say it, Cal? I don't know if I believe that. Excuse me. Let's see. Pointing device right, pointing device left. Track point. Glossy black cover. How does this work? It's got a lot of fuzz on here. Hot swap sockets, pointing device left. Do I want 2 pointing devices so I can move the mouse around? Bring your own. I don't know the answers to all these questions. Seems too complicated. I kind of like the way it looks, but somebody's gonna have to do that for me. You know, the older I get, the more I feel like an old man. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to learn this stuff and figure out how to do it. All right. Moonlander. Did I not copy that link? No. Okay. Cool. So we got that one. What else are people saying in the chat? Summer says, I'm not a programmer. My job has nothing to do really with tech. No, it has to do with overthrowing governments through fashion. Through the appearance of working in the fashion industry. Track points have to be read. That's true. I mean, it's kind of in the contract by law. Track points have to be read. Okay. Emacs keyboard of your dreams. Mech keyboards. I don't want to type that in now. Bade says, I just want to stand around in my plaid leisure suit watering my driveway. Well, you got to do that, otherwise it's gonna crack, right? It gets too hot out there. You gotta water it, dude. I don't know anything about that. I don't take care of my home. I just sit at the computer all day. Totem is great, says Arno. Totem keyboard. Whoa. Rousette. I've seen this site before. Yeah. Yuck. I don't want to see that thing in the middle. You're gonna make me lift my hand. Where's the link to the page for the keyboard? The Totem. There we go. By Guix. 38 keys, column stagger, split keyboard. So is this another thing that I have to actually do work for? No thanks. I want to pay somebody to do this for me. That's what money is for, people. Money, so you can make somebody else do the work and not do it yourself. Okay? If I want to do it myself, I would not be sitting here right now. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So. Yeah, Edge Crusher. Edge Crusher says, check out Sha Lee's keyboard page if you want to look at weird ergo keyboards. Yeah, Sha Lee has a lot of information about those, that's for sure. Ooh, AliExpress. On AliExpress, you can buy this keyboard pre-assembled. I don't know if I really trust, excuse me, trust it. Wow, okay. Got some interesting ads for products for a keyboard. Summer says, wait, so you guys want to pay money to have someone build a keyboard, but when it comes to paying someone to build your system, you're ragging me for that? What do you mean? Which part of the system? The OS? I'll do it myself. The OS, I'll do it myself. But the keyboard and the hardware, I don't know. I put together, I did the assembly of my Framework 13. And I was like, yeah, cool, that's great. I don't think I'll do that again. You know, it was fun as a little novelty, but maybe I'd rather them put it together for me. 173%? What? Which one? is your dream keyboard, Fade? Summer says, but Dave, that's what money is for, to pay someone to build your OS. Yes, I know. I'm being hypocritical a little bit, but in this case, I think I'm right. Get something with open source firmware, QMK, ZMK. I regret my Zoom 65 purchase because it has some Chinese firmware on it that you can't replace. Yeah, they said that about the HHKBs also, right? So you have to install some hardware module to it so that you can actually use QMK on there. Summer says, pay someone to build your system crafters. Well, you could pay me. Sounds great. You want someone to make your Guix configuration? Just pay me. I'll do it. Or not. Peter says, someone built a 1,000-key keyboard to match XKCD's simplified English. Oh, boy. Why do people take XKCD so seriously and want to replicate everything that's mentioned in an XKCD comic? Redacted says, why would I pay someone to do the fun part? Yeah, I agree with that. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. Why would I pay someone to do the fun part? But I want to pay someone to do the thing I don't want to do, which is assemble a keyboard. Now, I know there's plenty of you here in the audience who are thinking, that's like a thing that a system crafter's person would want to do. Well, sure, maybe, but not me. Not me. Too fiddly. I just want to use the keyboard. I want to type a bunch of stuff. I want to type a bunch of parentheses and S expressions. I don't want to have to build the keyboard from scratch. Fade's right. He says plumbing, oil changes, soldering, I guess. I'm happy to outsource these things. Me too. I don't really want to be doing any soldering in my house. Sounds kind of weird. Anyway. So corn shock, that looked kind of cool. Yeah. I'll look at the UHK again. Which one is Fade talking about? Upgoer 5, is that what it's called? I'm not getting a clear signal. Hyper 7? Hyper 7. Okay, he said it twice. Hyper, oh, 173% keyboard. I gotta see what this is. Is this like an organ? Oh my God. So what you're saying is you want a mainframe keyboard as your main keyboard. This is like a studio mixing desk. Yeah, it definitely looks like a Space Cadet clone. That's too many freaking keys, dude. Who needs this many? Who needs that many? I know that Lisp machines had these, but who needs that many? I do not need that many keys. That's gonna take up my whole freaking desk. There's no way. Okay. Who's gonna use the complete button? What is the complete button for? Zoom this thing in. What is complete for? What is transmit for? This is friggin' 2025. It's 2025. Stop output. Yes, I don't think that anybody's using this for what it's supposed to be. There's no way. Symbol. Okay, I could map that to something in Emacs. Has a programmable firmware. I would just take probably about 30 of these keys off and saw the edges off. I might as well just buy a different keyboard at that point. Local network. Close open. All right. Wait, is that a small key? Small. Wait. Is that what that says? Small. Was it really like that back in the Lisp machine days? Summer says you can hit like 6 keys and have a fully developed Lisp program in Emacs. I don't think so. I don't think it works like that. I don't think it works like that. Nagatani says help. There's a help button. Well, that can work in Emacs. I feel like there's 2 number pads on this thing because you got the friggin' function keys and everything else on the left side, and then you got the actual numpad on the other side. And what the hell? Is there a separate set of keys for caret and %sign and hash? They're already over here. Why have separate keys for the same thing? I'm missing something here. Again, look at it. You got the arrow, the angle bracket keys. You got the curly brace keys. You got duplicate keys for the same damn key. What is this thing? All right. says this has to be someone trolling. Yeah, I do feel like I'm being trolled right now. All right, so here you go. If you're insane, pick that one. That seems great. That's really funny, though. I mean, imagine going to a coffee shop with your MacBook. You put your nice little 14-inch MacBook on the desk next to your grande half-calf soy caramel latte, and then you bring your duffel bag out, clunk it down on the table, and pull out your enormous Lisp machine keyboard and start clacking away in the middle of the coffee shop while they're playing like Ed Sheeran or something over the speakers. Sounds pretty bizarre, but I bet you somebody would do it. Maybe Fade would do it. I don't know. RJ says, why? Don't you mean why not? I don't know. I really feel like that's a little bit overkill, okay? I'm willing to tolerate some amount of silliness, but that is just like beyond silly. That's like a Monty Python sketch. Who would make that keyboard in 2025? Summer says, David Will sounds literally offended by the amount of keys. I'm just kind of like, what a waste. What a waste. Why you need so many? It does need its own specialized stand. Good Lord. Keymax.com. What is this? Keymax.com. That's another one that looks like a classic keyboard. I like the font on the keys. Hey, Benoit. Nice to see you. Coolin says, what OS is he using? I'm using Ubuntu Desktop 18. Let's see. Customize made to order. Keymax 8620N. 34 keys is all you need? Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like too few, honestly. Seriously over-engineered. Well, I don't really know if that's a good thing. Like, if someone told me that their code was seriously over-engineered, I would be like, probably you should simplify that shit a little bit, okay? Sorry for the curse word, but I feel pretty strongly about it. Configurable. Made by Guix. Up. We got another YubiKey in the chat. Okay. This is a nice looking keyboard. I don't know what all the rest of the keys are supposed to be for. They have keycaps where you can actually see what they're supposed to be. Cal says David will need a separate channel for his exasperated reviews of unnecessary technology. I don't think I really want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. Okay. Is this thing assembled? Current lead time is 4 months. I'm going to forget this thing existed by the time it gets delivered. I'm going to forget that I spent money on that. Seek says, seriously, Ubuntu 18? I'm lying. I'm using GNU Guix. That's why I said it, because it's obviously wrong. Whoa, 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 whoa. $1,205 euros. 1,205. Is this made out of like actual steel? What the hell is this thing made out of? Temporarily out of stock. Did 2 people buy it? I mean, the keys look nice, everything, but this is insane. Okay, we got, you know, the keyboard pornography shots here, which looks great, but why spend that much money? What does it do? What does it do? What's so special? Let's see. Benoit says the best keyboard is the one you craft. I know, Benoit. I know that you built many of your own keyboards. I'm not willing to do that myself. I don't have the patience. Says the person who's willing to bang his head over stupid code stuff very regularly. Dolce says, to be fair, I'm sure there's not many people interested in a symbolic style keyboard. Yeah, not so many. Not so many. Urawa says, made by Guix and over-engineered. Price and a kidney and a leg. Yeah, really. Quality, says Rudy. Yeah, I mean, I see that there is kind of a level of build quality here. It makes sense that people would be into that, and I would admire it if I saw one in person, but I would never pay so much money to get this. Jeff says, it executes self-insert command. Obviously, yeah, it does execute that, doesn't it? Nagatoni says, what doesn't it do is a better question. Well, it better do something with all these damn buttons. You got like 2 shift keys or 3 shift keys. What the hell is going on with these keys? Why don't they print something on the other keys so I know what they're supposed to be for? Anyway, enough yelling. Until I see the next one. That drives me nuts. All right, Keymax. Is this really for Emacs users? Can I go back to the home? Well, I'm at the home page. Exclusive keyboard kits. Why? If you want the blue NOS keys so you can be like Fast and the Furious and do some turbocharged typing, then you could pay almost 2,000 euro for a kit to build a computer like that, or a keyboard like that. I mean, seriously, you could buy a whole freaking computer, a pretty good computer, for the price of this one keyboard. I think that's going a little bit too far. It better have a damn computer in it, okay? I'm sure they could afford to put like a Raspberry Pi in there and give you a full computer experience. 2,000 euros for the edition with the printed keys. What is happening, man? I mean, I guess there's a market for everything, right? If you got enthusiasts with enough money, they will buy some insane stuff. Already says maybe 2 programmers can type on the same keyboard. I would not want to share a keyboard with anybody. I'm trying to type my stuff. I don't want somebody else pecking around at the same time. Oh boy. Dolce says, didn't symbolic keyboards have a rub out key on the left? That doesn't sound like a good key. No, okay, so this is a review from Fade, which definitely begs my viewership, which is the glove keyboards look like something designed by David Cronenberg and H.R. Geiger, or Giger. How do you pronounce his name? Glove, was it Glove 88? Gotta see that. Is this really what you're talking about? Giger, thank you, Cal. I believe you. Ekron makes nice stuff. So, images.google.com. When I think Cronenberg keyboard, I'm thinking of something like this. Is there like a keyboard that looks like an animal skeleton? That's a functioning keyboard? Because that's what I think when you say Cronenberg designed a keyboard. Because in this movie, Existenz, there is a gun that is basically made from animal bones. Don't ask me why. That's what David Cronenberg comes up with. So, Rudy says Glove 80 is actually good. Peter says Glove 80 is nice, but no mice. Nice, but no mice. Svalbard.com. Existenz is pretty cool. Wow, now that looks like something out of Lawnmower Man. That's pretty funny. What exactly is this? Life-changing results. This is a keyboard and a mouse? I'm intrigued, I have to say. This seems insane. Buy now. I gotta see how much this thing costs. Okay, so 700 euro. It makes sense for something like this. At least it's not 1,500. That is so crazy looking. It's a chord keyboard. It's basically what a court reporter uses, right? Something like that. You got to know all the key combinations to make the letters. Yeah, it's like a split stenograph, says Edge Crusher. Man, look at the yellow racing colors. See, that's the kind of thing, if you roll up into Starbucks, in the same example I used before, if you roll up into Starbucks with this thing, people are going to think that you're probably hacking the government or something. I probably shouldn't say those words so close together on a live stream on YouTube, but you don't see the stream come back next week, you'll probably know why. Hopefully Summer can get me out of there. But it's pretty interesting. Is that actually... So they have track point, but they got this whole ball in the middle. Is that not a mouse itself? Rudy says, Svalbard is not for chording. It uses QWERTY by default, believe it or not. Are you just like moving your fingertips around to hit the keys in the different sides? Peter says, you probably need a pit crew to set that up in a coffee shop. Yeah, the way they got it attached to this desk. Where's that picture? This thing looks insane, dude. Summer says, I got you covered. Thank you, Summer. I knew you'd be able to get me out of a jam. Oh, they're selling you a beer. Buy the builder a beer. Man, come on, dude. I'm already paying almost 1,000 euro for a damn weird keyboard. Give me a break. I'm not going to buy you a beer, too. It's your damn job. Build the keyboard and send it to me. I'm paying you. Anyway, I'm fascinated with the way that it looks. Oh, you get like a hard case to go for it, too. So I kind of feel like some kid my age grew up watching The Wizard. You remember the movie The Wizard with, what's his name? Fred. The guy from the Wonder Years. What's his name? Anyway, in The Wizard, they're doing like a Nintendo World Championship or something, and there's some kid whose parents have too much money who had the power glove. And whenever he used the power glove, he looked like the coolest person on the planet. So somebody my age who grew up when that movie came out got that in their head, and then they designed this keyboard. Fred Savage, thank you, RJ. The power glove, exactly. So I kind of just get power glove vibes off this. Somebody was like, I got to make a keyboard that fulfills my childhood power fantasy of using a power glove and seeming like the coolest person in the world. Fred Savage, thank you, Summer Emax. Summer is half my age and remembers that. Anywho. Okay. So this is kind of just a curiosity, I would say. I'm going to put this more toward the insane category. I said we're going to look at keyboards, and we're looking at some keyboards. I'm appreciating all of these suggestions here. It's great. Summer says, I don't remember. What did you do? Look it up? Did you ask ChatGPT who I'm talking about? You only saw clips? Oh, that's fine. It's not worth watching. Nakatani says, I've had a Keychron for like 9 years. All right, people keep saying Keychron. I don't know why it's suggesting Kylie Jenner to me. It's not like I'm watching the Kardashians or anything. Okay. So, which Keychron are we talking about? I kind of like the normal layout, low-profile keyboards. Data hand. Oh, was that not a joke? Data hand Professional 2. That sounds like something from Johnny Mnemonic. Oh, it looks like something from Johnny Mnemonic. Released in 1995, the Data Hand provides full computer keyboard and mouse functionality. That definitely looks like a medical device. That's pretty interesting looking. It's very what would that be? Adventurous. It's very adventurous for the mid-90s. I have to say. So, Nakatani says, I have K2. All products, keyboards. K. UMK. All right, makes sense. Version 2, 100% full-size slim. 80% compact. I kind of like compact keyboards a little bit more, I think. 80% compact. Let me look at that one. Summer says, that thing was totally weird. The next generation vibes for some reason like the sick bay. It does kind of look like that, doesn't it? It makes sense, too, because it was probably designed right around the time people were watching Star Trek, the next generation. Because I know that my dad was watching it like crazy back then. All right. They got function keys on here, which in my opinion means there's too many keys. Who needs a damn function key? Maybe some of you Emacs users out there are using function keys, but I sure don't. Okay, I like the fact that it has caps lock. Oh, no, sorry. That's not right. It should be control. I should get a 500% size keyboard. No way, dude. We already saw the one. It was 173. It was insane. No. We don't need that. Don't need that. I like minimal keyboard layouts. This thing is a Mac keyboard, though. I don't like that too much. Banana? The hell does that mean? Okay, anyway. 40% in Colmac, you know, that's the thing. I really do not want to have to adapt to like a completely different keyboard layout like Colmac versus QWERTY. Nakatani says, how can you play Minecraft without function keys? I play it on an Xbox. That's how. Andy says, I use 48WS in my tiling window manager. That way I need that is why I need I need F key. Oh, Jesus, man, I can't read today. That's why I need F key. Sometimes I need to work in TTY1. Okay, sure. Actually, that does make sense. If you need to switch to a TTY, you kind of need function keys. Amateurs, the Hyper 7. The Hyper 7, Fade, do you own a Hyper 7? That thing is freaking $1,500, dude. Bedrock player. Cassette futurism. I like that terminology. What is Glenn saying is helping with his RSI? The Hyper 7 looks awesome. It looks insane, okay? It's overkill, in my opinion. Fade has almost bought a Hyper 7 13 times, says Nakatani. Yeah, that does sound like us. You just kind of lust over a device, and you think about it, and then you're like, my wife would kill me if I bought this thing. And then you don't do it. Summer says, this has been such a wonderfully productive stream so far. I think it's productive. We're learning what's out there and what's too crazy to be real. They sell them on Scrooge. Ekron gaming keyboards. Well, I guess I could buy something from there, huh? English US. Damn, I can get an English US keyboard on a Greek website. That's great. But it doesn't have a track point or anything like that. So that's a mark against it, in my opinion. I gotta have a track point or something. Track ball? I don't know. You can't have too many keys on a proper keyboard. Yeah, you can. When are you gonna use all them keys? You have to actually go set up bindings for all that stuff because it doesn't exist. What's the point? Dolce says, what's chat's favorite switch? I currently run Gatoron Oil Kings. What is an Oil King? They gotta put all kinds of weird names on these things. See ya, Nakatani. An Oil King. Next is gonna be the Kali Snake Lips. That's gonna be the new name, the best new switch everybody's using. It's gotta be total nonsense. Summer says, when are you gonna use all the keys? Always. Why? How? Big Edie's linking to a video of Shaw using the Sval board. Oh boy. Anyway, let me get back to the Glove 80 because I skipped over that when we started talking about Cronenberg. If you want to see more weird stuff from Cronenberg, you can watch any of the movies where something surgical is involved, like, what was it called? Dead Ringers. Obviously, there's also Videodrome. Dynamic waterproof IP65 waterproof. I mean, I guess that makes sense for a keyboard. You'll spill things on the desk. Alibaba.com. Dynamic waterproof, because I'm not typing this whole thing out. IP65 keyboard with trackball. 5.0 stars. That's kind of weird looking. And I don't think that's English. I see an S that looks like it comes from Polish or something. Yeah, this looks like a Polish keyboard. Or even Turkish. Is that Turkish? Could be. So, if you want a keyboard that looks like you're in an elevator pressing buttons, then get this one. Because it definitely looks like you're in an elevator pressing buttons. And is this like wall mountable? What the hell kind of keyboard is this? Oh, it's an industrial keyboard. And if you want, you can put your keyboard in the sink. Learn how to use white balance. What's going on here? The whole video is going dark. Okay, what they're showing right now in this video, since you can't see it because they've screwed up the video, is they got to keep the keyboard in the sink with water running on it, and they're typing into a laptop, which appears to be a MacBook that's running Windows Vista. Is this a MacBook running Windows Vista? How many things can be wrong with one video? How many things can be wrong with one video? What am I looking at? I don't have a bee in my bonnet. Give me a break. I'm just having fun here, okay? This has to be the weirdest video I've ever seen on the internet. You have an industrial grade keyboard that is being used in a running sink connected to a MacBook Pro that has Windows Vista installed. And the video, you can't even watch it because the brightness of the video keeps going down. What is happening? I'm fascinated. This just seems like a bunch of things that should never be happening at the same time. It runs QMK though. The most important thing is that this keyboard runs QMK. So if you want to have multiple layers on your brushed aluminum elevator keyboard, then you could definitely do that. But just don't come crying to me when your fingers are curled up like pretzels because you're using this weird keyboard with bad keys. I'm getting that one. Look at that one. With a huge joystick on it. You gotta have that. And you're gonna need like 15 wrist rests like stacked on top of each other to use this keyboard on your desk because it's so high up already. Oh my God, man, this is insane. Of course you could buy this from Alibaba. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. This is worse than that other keyboard we saw that was too big. I didn't think it could get any worse, but it's worse. Who wants to wall mount this keyboard? There's a rugged mechanical keyboard. Does it have a built-in trackball? With optical thumb ball mouse. Is it built in? That's some weird stuff, man. They must have very specific use cases in mind. Wall mount your keyboard with multiple CRTs. That would be real hacker stuff right there. My God. All right. Washable keyboard. You can wash it while you use it. We got to put that one in there just because it's insane. The weirdest thing I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot. So back to the Glove 80. All right. So tell me about the keyboard. Peter said that's the solution. Glue your keyboard to a board, glue a trackball next to it. Voila. Yes, and you can nail it to the wall. I love to see these kind of air-on chair setups where you got these split keyboards strapped to the sides of the chair. I would be so uncomfortable using it like that. Captain on deck. Pilot your own captain's chair or design your own add-on modules. I mean, sure, yeah, it kind of sounds interesting, but I just don't think so. Incredible comfort. Until you spill that cappuccino all over it. No mouse support. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good from a keyboard standpoint. Fits most hands. So, when we say that it fits most hands, what are the edges of this classification of most hands? How small are we talking? Is it like infant fingers? If you're an infant, can you use this keyboard if you know how to type? Probably not. If you're Shaquille O'Neal, can you use this keyboard? Probably not. Is that what they're saying? Summer says, with the Glove 80, you have no need of mouse support. I kind of doubt that. You just told me that I need a mouse, didn't you? Weren't we just arguing about that? So we got a quote from Sha Li on here. Very impressive design, reflecting the extreme ergonomics design effort. Well, that's cool. You got a shout out on a website. Use Vim key bindings. Dolce says the keys look like old telephone box keys. They sure do, don't they? On that other keyboard. They look like old telephone box keys. Cal says, what kind of input devices can work in a sensory deprivation flotation tank? Dude, you've been watching too much Joe Rogan. Surface Pro 12-inch keyboard. That sounds perfect. I don't want a trackpad, though. I don't really want a trackpad because you have to move your finger. Unless it's in the center, which I kind of doubt. Anyway. Okay, so the Glove 80 looks kind of nice. Kind of nice. Key switches, ergonomic features, customization. I mean, I guess here's the thing, man. Maybe it's wrong for me to say this. How much do we really need these extreme ergonomic keyboards? Is it not just a matter of lack of sufficient rest, bad posture, bad seat and desk height? Like things like that. Do we need a keyboard to solve that problem? Or is it just like some other problems that need to be solved? Am I wrong about that? Because I've been using this shitty keyboard for a long time and I don't really get RSI that much. And I actually have bad posture. And I don't get very good sleep either, which my hands do hurt sometimes after that, but I don't really get like bad RSI or anything. Maybe it's just adaptation or the fact that I don't reach for a mouse. That could be a thing. I don't know. Eric says, those flotation tanks are cool. I always fall asleep there, though. I probably would, too. I mean, I think past a certain age, it's very likely you're just going to fall asleep in there. It's like sitting in a chair after you had a nice meal. You're going to fall asleep. Mark says, hot take alarm. You're going to be canceled by the Ergo keyboard community. I'm not trying to say that they are completely useless. They look cool, and it's cool to have a weird-looking keyboard. I just don't know, like, how much of it is actually an issue with the keyboard itself? Because I don't really feel like I need an ergonomic keyboard. I've used them before, but I actually felt like it was slowing me down in a lot of ways. Rudy says, to reply to your question, after you type on a split ergo for a couple months and you try a normal keyboard, you will know why. It is quite an experience. Ergos are all about comfort. Well, you know, I should probably try to use one before I keep saying that they don't do anything. But I'm still skeptical a little bit. I'm definitely talking like an old man today, though. I know that. Fade says, some people aren't prone to repetitive stress injury. I tend not to be. Yeah. Tendo says, do you properly touch type with all the fingers or more with a couple dominant ones? I use all my fingers. All of my fingers. However, I don't have perfect finger placement. Like, I reach across the center of the keys for certain letters in ways that I probably shouldn't, but it doesn't really bother me too much. I'm definitely using all my fingers, though. Peter says, I switch between split ergo and regular. Variety keeps RSI away. Yeah, I think that's really it. I mean, that's kind of in the name, right? Repetitive strain injury. Keep doing the same thing over and over. Oh, I'll tell you another thing, too. Really bad editing habits in a text editor will kill you, okay? The only times I get really bad strain is if I'm doing the same stupid edit over and over and, like, not using a keyboard macro or something like that. Or like a regular expression search and replace. If I do a really stupid edit over and over, like pressing the same keys over and over again in like a loop, I almost always get really bad hand strain after that. That one is a problem. So I feel like there's a number of things that are things that you do that a person might do that would cause RSI more than the choice of keyboard. But that's just me. I don't know. Me. Artie says I use both hands for both left, right, control, alt. I do not do that. I'm only using my pinky and thumb for those keys. However, I've remapped caps lock to control, which helps a lot, and I use my thumb for alt. I don't know. The way that I use my keyboard definitely solves a lot of my problems on that stuff. Andy says, split ergonomic keyboards force you to relearn how to type, and this can take months. I used to have a truly ergonomic keyboard. I used to have one of these, and it took a little while to get used to it. It was cool, but the build quality was a problem because I had keys that would start going dead or ghost too much, and it was a real issue. but it was an interesting keyboard. However, the layout was a little bit weird. Like backspace key was over on the side here, so you have to like reach your index finger over to hit backspace. That was before I was like super into Emacs, so I wouldn't have probably been using that key anyway because of the other key bindings. But still, it does take getting used to. There's other keys that are in the wrong spot. I'm trying to think of which one that was. Like some of the backslash keys, forward slash keys, things like that. So anyway, yeah. Bye wrist pain. I don't know if I believe that. But yeah, I had one of those for a little while. I would bring it with me to work because adjusting back to a normal keyboard after trying to use that thing was not so great. Beachow says, excuse me. Beachow says the most productive and senior people in my workplace just use the default Dell membrane from 20 years ago with all the key legends worn off. Yeah, you can be quite productive with some old keyboards. But I have an older Dell keyboard that I used to use on a machine that I had maybe in 2005. The shape of the keys in that thing is so weird that I can't stand it. I haven't used it anymore. If I like have to use it as a backup keyboard, it's terrible. Tenno says, but overall going to home row mods cured lots of the repetition strain issues too. Yeah, trying to use home row keys more, I think helps, and having control on the home row helps a lot. I switched from using Vim style key bindings to using vanilla Emacs bindings, and I thought that would cause trouble for me, but it actually didn't. I became a bit more efficient with my editing in Emacs as a result, and I don't have to do as much of the weird repetitive editing like I used to. So that helped a lot as well with the RSI type issues. Mark says, I think split keyboards are like 120 hertz monitors. You don't know you need them until you've tried one. Well, I think that kind of shows though that you don't need them. You might enjoy them, but you don't need them. Not to disagree with you. I'm just kind of, I feel like I don't need it necessarily. Now, if I get 100, excuse me, if I get a 120 hertz monitor, I would probably not want to go back because at this point, I've gone to 4K monitors and there's no way in hell I'm going to use a 1080p monitor anymore. So I get it for sure. Artie says, an argument against split keys is when you're stuck somewhere away from home and all you got is your boring laptop. Well, that's one of the reasons why I use the ThinkPad compact USB keyboards is because they have the same keyboard as the laptops that I typically use. But I'm no longer a ThinkPad user, or at least not primarily. So that's kind of a moot point at this point. All right, Summer Emacs says, you know, David Will, if you get Hyper 7, you get to name your own personal custom built gray mainframe and it'll talk to you. I don't need that. I've already got ChatGPT. Summer says, wasn't David Will always an Emacs user? I thought he was born with a silver Emacs in his mouth. The first time I saw Emacs was probably in 2002 in a computer lab at college. And I was like, this thing looks ugly. So I used Vim instead. And I never went back to Emacs until probably about 5 years later. And I was like, this thing is ugly. So then I didn't go back to Emacs until probably another 10 years later. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. So no, I was not always an Emacs user. And you can quote me on that. Peter says, home row mods are awesome. I waited far too long to implement that. I use Kanata for that. Okay. I intended for us to talk about like firmwares and software and stuff, but I don't think we're gonna have time for all that stuff. But it was fun going through all the weird and wonderful keyboards that exist out there. So, all right, let's roll back to the original point of this whole stream. I have two problems I'm trying to solve. One is I don't like the Greek layout MacBook keyboards, which turns out to be more specifically ISO layout keyboards. So the EU ISO layout keyboards. I do not like them. I want something that's more like the US ANSI layout. We're not checking Kinesis? Okay, Rudy, I'll check Kinesis. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with Kinesis already. I know that Primeagen loves them. Kinesis keyboard. The Advantage or whatever that is looks so weird. This looks exactly like the, what do they call that Microsoft keyboard? The Ergo Sculpt thing. What was it called? Microsoft Ergo keyboard. I actually used these for a while. Yeah, the Sculpt ergonomic keyboard. Did Kinesis buy the design of that thing from Microsoft? Because it looks exactly the same. I used this for a while, actually. And it was all right. I didn't really have too much of a complaint with it. I probably wouldn't use it now. Look at that thing, dude. Now, this ugly-ass keyboard, when I worked at Microsoft, this is what they gave us, I think, as the first keyboard. Oh, man. That thing was so chunky. It was terrible. Yeah, the other one was much better. It was kind of more minimal by comparison. And it was wireless. So that was good. Can I buy this at Scrooge? They actually sell this thing? That's unbelievable. Yuck. Oh, it's 10 euro? I would not, like... I would not pay a cent for this keyboard. Look how disgusting that thing is. Who's selling their disgusting keyboard on this website? With all the scum on the keys and all the plasticky stuff like worn off already. And you can see like the food stains in there. Like, they've been eating over this keyboard. They're just gonna sell it directly on the website. 10 euro, people. This could be yours for just 10 euro. Darth 9. Doesn't really sound that ominous, does it? You're gonna buy a disgusting keyboard from Darth 9 on the Greek Amazon-like website called Scrooge. And wow, look at that power plug there. Real nice. Want to buy some shoes? I'm just seeing what else kind of weird stuff we're going to see here. Beach House says, I'm glad I finished lunch before we got to this part. Yeah, somebody else's lunch is in this keyboard. I can tell that. I think somebody was eating some like tomato soup on this thing. Just eating some tomato soup, having a nice lunch, you know, adding some numbers up in Excel, and making a big mess for the keyboard that they will ultimately try to sell on a website to an unsuspecting person. Anyway. So, sorry, Kinesis. That looks a lot like the Sculpt Ergo from Microsoft. Advantage 360. What else we got here? Okay, which of the Kinesis keyboards am I looking at? Yeah, Summer quoted me. I saw Emacs and said, oh, this is ugly, and attributing it to me. Nobody knows me as Dave Wilson, though, so they won't know it's me. Kate says, I think it needs a biohazard sticker. It kind of does need a biohazard sticker. Edge Carter says, I've also got an MS Ergo keyboard. I haven't used it in almost 17 years. Kinesis 360, thank you. Advantage 360. This one looks pretty good. Split Ergo. It doesn't have that huge base like the Advantage 2 does. This thing, what do they call these? Go to the page with the pictures of the thing. What do they call this? The way that the keys is it scalloped keys? What is this thing called? It's so weird that it has so much like body to it. Why does it need all this body? Is it just to look menacing or intimidating? Like you go to somebody's office, you see that on their desk, and you're like, this guy must be serious. Fade says it's like a D&D module called the Wells of Doom. Wells, thank you. They're called Wells. Key Wells. Thank you. Tedno says the same thing. I knew I'd heard the term before, but I've forgotten what it was. D Rockosaurus Rex says it's great, like stadium seating around your hands. Yeah, it is a way to describe that. I feel like I'm at a Creed concert in the crowd. Why did I pick Creed? I don't know. I'm just hoping that Trev is here to back me up on that. I don't think he is though. And you're just kind of poking around. Look how weirdly the keys are placed. Like this is really specific, dude. They must have done some serious research to decide like the down to the millimeter or nanometer positioning of where these keys go, because that shit looks completely random to me almost. So you know somebody thought about that. Also concave. Yes, that's right, Rudy. Beach House says the tomato soup's got to go somewhere. Usually it goes on the screen, but also it gets in the keys. I don't know this from experience. Leave me alone. This is also $400, but this is not the one that Rudy suggested, okay? The one that Rudy suggested is over here. It's the Advantage 360. I'm guessing the professional one, right? Which is also 500 euro, which is fine. I mean, it's professional after all. I assume that they mean for businesses to be buying this and not individuals who are obsessed with the with keyboards. Yeah, I know, Rudy. I was just looking at the other one for my own laughs. Summer says it looks like really bad crooked teeth. It does kind of look like really bad crooked teeth. That's true. Our flagship fully split contour keyboard designed to provide maximum comfort and adjustability. I almost said accountability. Split display and tint each module for the optimal typing posture. The professional module features wireless linking, optional wireless Bluetooth connectivity, a powerful ZMK engine designed for advanced users. Advanced users! You better not be any beginner user, because this thing ain't for you. It's only for advanced users. It is all caps and italicized, which means that they're serious about that. Choose from tactile brown or linear quiet pink mechanical key switches. Well, cool. How about that? I mean, it looks nice, doesn't it? It says we could take it higher. Yes, we can. I'm not going to sing that. Summer says, I kind of like that one. I mean, it looks good. I would use that. I mean, it looks kind of classy to me. It doesn't have a mouse, but I'm intrigued. I can say that. The ZMK is also pro specific. How? What is pro about ZMK? ZMK versus QMK. Both open source. More mature, feature-rich firmware. ZMK is newer, wireless first, built on the Zephyr RTOS. Okay. Artie says, I remember a review of Advantage 2 mentioning it has too much flex. If that's a problem, I don't know. I mean, if you're paying $500 for a keyboard, it better not do anything like that, in my opinion. Summer is still going to advocate for the Hyper 7. No. I see. Peter says the non-pro comes with whatever proprietary firmware is in the Kinesis. Got it. Rudy says 360 Signature Edition in black, not standard gray. Where is that? Because, you know, if it looks really nice, then that actually is meaningful to me. I like black. That's why I was such a ThinkPad user over the years. Learn more. Where is the Signature Edition? Where? Buy now. Signature Series, $600. Can I see a picture of the damn thing? Ah, that. Is it because of the color of the keys? Keycaps. Show me what they look like. Shine through clarity black. That sounds cool, I guess. Blank charcoal. I like blank keys. Backspace right there on the thumb. I mean, backspace and delete being next to each other, that's kind of nice, I guess. It does seem like a keyboard you'd have to get used to, though. That's for sure. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's not a trackball. That's a speaker. Next to a golden apple. So what I'm gathering from this is that the person who took the photography for this keyboard is a Discordian. Is that right? Are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing here? Discordian, golden apple. Is that right? The apple of Discord. Where is it? A golden apple. So, not Apple, not Apple, the hardware manufacturer. I'm talking about something else. So yes, they're Discordians. It would have to be to make a keyboard like this. Because it's totally chaotic, in my opinion. Or a Minecraft player, maybe a Minecraft player. I mean, I guess in this day and age, it's more likely that someone's playing Minecraft than studying a joke religion. Mira Bruce says, I would go for a Corn or a 3W6 before a Kinesis. Fewer keys is a benefit when getting used to it. Maybe so. RJ says, get the blank keycap version. You can remap the keys. That is another benefit of having blank keys. You can make them whatever you want. And then you can, use nail polish to paint whatever letters you want on them and make it look totally psychotic. There's some value to that, I think. Don't you want to go to the Starbucks in our original example and have a strange looking keyboard with strangely painted keys with things that don't look like actual letters of a language, or human language at least? Maybe an alien language or a vampiric language. And just go to the coffee shop and just see what kind of reactions you get. That would be pretty interesting, I think. It's always good to do a little bit of a social experiment to see what people are willing to tolerate in their public spaces, because, variety is the spice of life. Anyway, so what am I missing here, Rudy? I'm sure that I should be talking about the finer points of what this keyboard does. I mean, it looks good. That's all I can really say. Receive a, qualifying H&S specialist. What is an H&S specialist? They're being very vague about that. Receive a free demo unit on selected products. Corporate demo program. Peter says, I guess you're missing a mouse. I don't want a mouse. Oh, you mean, yes, with this? Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the case in most of these. The only one so far that looks promising that has some kind of solution for a mouse is this UHK thing, which seems pretty strange, but I could live with that. Creative Pebble, is that a real thing? Or is it the speaker? Health and safety. Thank you, RJ. That's probably correct. What would H&S mean if it wasn't health and safety? See, Arno. I don't really know if I want to come up with ideas for what H&S means in this case. Nothing good. Nothing good can come out of that brainstorming session. Oh, that's great. Look at that. Fusel. Who's Fusel? It's very happy with her UHK. Is that a touchpad in the middle? Huh. Well, at first I was going to make fun of it, but that's actually not a bad idea. I don't know if Summer is agreeing with me or mocking me. Rudy said you're not really missing anything. Okay. This is interesting. It is a keyboard. This honestly looks to me like, I don't know how many of you have used like an MPC or like an Ableton Push or any of those live music devices. It looks like one of those. Like an Akai MPC. It's very flat. I don't know why this thing is so damn flat. Why is it not sloped? Why is this not sloped? They expect you to use a wrist rest with this thing? This is ergonomic, but it's a freaking flat keyboard. But it has a touchpad in the middle, which I'm okay with. I mean, that kind of makes sense because it solves my problem of needing to use my index finger and stay on the keyboard. I don't hate this. I just think it's really silly to have a flat keyboard. When I say flat, I mean, look at the side profile. There is no slope to the side of this keyboard at all. There's no slope. How are you supposed to use that? Peter says, if that's ergonomic, I got a bridge to sell you. That doesn't really look ergonomic to me either, Peter. I see the, excuse me. It's split, sure. But the keys look basically the same. And then you got home and end. And page up and page down on the side. Lined up in a column. That is awful. I don't want that. Haha, Rudy says, do not waste time with that touchpad keyboard. Charlie tested it and it is shit. It doesn't look very good, okay? It does not look very good. So I don't know why Kinesis is selling that. Maybe it's a little bit more easy for someone to wrap their head around if they're used to normal keyboards, but pretty weird. Anyway, all right, Glove 80. Did I put that link in? I never got around to the dactyl. I got to leave. So we're not going to get to all these now. Okay, so we got that one. The Kinesis Advantage. Let me just copy that link without the anchor on it. Bye-bye. All right. So bad. So it's bad. Yeah, it looks bad. I mean, this is what I'm hearing. And I believe Rudy on that. Okay. Optional fixed split. Oh, that was good. All right, so where are we ending up at here? I don't feel so bad about this keyboard, this HHKB Studio keyboard costing as much as it does anymore, because I've seen some really insane things today that show me that this is about middle of the road when it comes to expensive, weird keyboards, okay? This is reasonable for an expensive, weird keyboard. The other thing I didn't say about this is it's got like touch pads on the side that you can use for controlling. It's like a jog wheel or something, like a scroll pad jog wheel thing on the sides. It's really, really weird the stuff this thing has built into it. Kind of overkill in my opinion. I don't really need all that stuff. I just want a track point and the ability to use it on multiple computers at the same time. And that does actually solve that. So I'm kind of more inclined to look at this again. Bait says if it has Topper switches, I'd say it's a winner. I don't know. Tenno says, so you feel you're any closer to the goal after all this keyboard bashing? I at least have a better understanding of the options available to me. I'm curious about the UHK thing. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's really that good or not, but I'll look into it further because it does have those modules that you can install to put a trackball or a track point on it. That would solve some problem for me. Anton says, next time, X75. Gasket mechanical keyboard. This is another one of those things you got to assemble yourself. I'm not doing that. Hey, it looks cool. 45G linear switch. Is that not good, Peter? The other happy hacking keyboards look pretty good, but none of them have a track point in the way that this one does. The Dandelion full key top set. I want some yellow keys so that you get that worn beige computer aesthetic without all the time. Designed for those who type to live. I guess that sounds like me. I definitely type to live. I don't live a day without typing. That look good, right? In general, those keyboards. Whoops. So, it's perfectly fine if you like linear switches. Well, for me, honestly, I don't even know what I like because I've been using this butterfly switch keyboard. What is this thing anyway? Let's just see what I've been slumming it with for so long. ThinkPad compact USB keyboard. What is this thing? Legendary award-winning keyboard. Keychron K2. I think we looked at that for a second ago. Scissor lift key mechanism. Nothing that sophisticated. To ensure great ergonomics and comfort. I don't really know if this is accomplishing ergonomics, so let's not go too far. I guess butterfly switches are closest to brown tactile. Okay, that's good to know. Let's see. Package type, brown box. I mean, that's the kind of detail that I need when it comes to the products I'm about to buy is the package type, especially if it comes in a brown box, because you know this can't be some kind of illicit device that you bought from a weird place on the internet. Micro USB cable, whatever. Anyway, yeah, we got the answer to that question. Look at that thing. That looks almost like the kind of protective device that a football player wears. Summer says, such a special guy like you, that doesn't sound like a compliment, deserves something bigger with many more keys to show your coding status. I don't really need to show my coding status. I'll let the code speak for itself, which is not very good anyway. So I think a bigger keyboard is not going to help me in that regard. You have that bump to get over when pressing. Linears do not have that bump. I don't know if the bump matters to me. Okay, so what did we learn? What did we learn? Well, we learned a lot of really weird things. The one thing I will say, I want to go back to the example of the weirdest thing I've ever seen. The strangest and most unsettling video I've ever seen on the internet, which is this person washing this keyboard and typing on it while it's plugged into a MacBook Pro that's running Windows Vista. Just let that sink in for a moment. What is happening here? I think if your life has gotten to this point where you're using a computer in this way, something has gone really wrong. And who knows, maybe my life will get to that point too. And I'm gonna have to pay $379 to buy such a laptop, such a keyboard to fulfill my dream of using a MacBook Pro with Windows Vista installed while washing the keyboard at the same time. It says this person is obviously a total psychopath. I really want to know the board meeting or the product team meeting where they discussed what to do in the video to demonstrate this product. Peter says the HXKB Studio offers hot swappable keys so you can swap them out with other switches if linear is not your thing. That is a benefit, yeah. Eric has a point. Useful on a fishing boat, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess we're going to bring it back to that, so for sure. Peter says looks to be a real good option, same price as the UHK. You're pushing me in the direction now. So look, HHKB Studio review. Wired says the keyboard is fantastic, but it gives it an 8 out of 10. Who else? The Verge. The tagline for the review is the track point is the whole point. On this it says you have to want the track point. Well, that's me. I want the track point. Everything but Topri switches. So can you put Topri switches on there? Real thick keycaps. And what do they say? They gave it a 7. The chassis is kind of ugly. Well, I don't give a crap about that because, I mean, it's black and uninspiring. I don't care. I'm typing on it all day. Gesture pads are unintuitive. I don't care about those either. Limited keycap compatibility. $330. That's Topri money. Jerry says, thanks, David. You're the second streamer that's on a keyboard mission. I think I'm done with keyboards for now. Take care. Yeah, I hear you, Jerry. Have a good one, man. Topri requires a different PCB for capacitive operation. Okay, that sounds about right then. I'm okay with something else. Because, I mean, I'm not that sophisticated of a mechanical keyboard user anyway. The idea of an HHKB with MX switches is borderline sacrilege. You have to really want a track point for this to make any sort of sense. Well, there you go. Summer says he doesn't care if his keyboard is ugly, but he cares if Emacs is ugly. I cared in the past if Emacs was ugly. I don't care anymore, obviously, because I am a proponent of using Emacs on the internet. So, obviously, it's not a problem for me. One last suggestion, then I got to get out of here. Logitech. I already know I'm not going to be happy about this. Logitech K380. Thank you, Sarok21. This is exactly the keyboard that I wanted. Because nothing says hardcore programmer like circular keycaps. What is this, a Fisher-Price keyboard? This is a keyboard for babies? This really needs to be like bright yellow with multicolored keycaps, like RGB colors, to really sell the vibe that's being given to me by this picture. It needs to have like a clown face on the escape key. What else should it have? It should probably make squeaking noises when you press the keys, or maybe play like a children's nursery rhyme. I don't know, man. Andy says Logitech is a joke. Well, in this case, they definitely are a joke. The HHKB layout requires some training and makes it hard to switch between different systems. We've used the same keyboard for both setups. Is that an issue? Yeah, I already know that's going to be an issue, but I'm willing to try it just for the fact that it solves other problems I have. No self-respecting hacker would ever use that crap. Well, I may just have to do it to prove a point. Peter says, I would try that Logitech in the sink with running water. Yes, I think so too, right? Already says, you'll be typing 2 keys at once. You mean because of the ghosting? Probably so. Summer says, Logitech webcams are like what business guys have on their Dell computers in their office and think it's all cool. I don't think they think it's cool at all. They're just going to work, man. I don't think anybody thinks that's cool. A Dell computer? Come on. One of those keyboards that look like an old-timey typewriter with brass keycaps. Oh. Can you think of one? Old typewriter keyboard for iPad. No, for computer. There we go. Wood grain retro typewriter keyboard. Now that looks pretty dope. I gotta say, who wouldn't want to use that? I mean, your fingers are gonna get stuck in between the keys as you're typing really fast. But come on, if you're at if you're at not the Starbucks, but if you're at the bespoke, artisan, free trade, really fancy hipster coffee shop, and you pull out this thing, you're gonna be the talk of the town. They're gonna be coming to see you. That's for sure. They're gonna be like, whoa, what is that? That looks so retro. Burroughs. Is that a coffee shop? Ugh. That's a good keyboard right there. What is that? The Aviator keyboard. Remember Ed Hardy clothes? Like in the mid-2000s, like all the Ed Hardy shirts. Can I pull up an image of an Ed Hardy shirt? Ed Hardy shirt or Affliction. Affliction is another one. Images. Nah, not that. Affliction t-shirt. Yeah, stuff like this. So this kind of t-shirt, that's what I think of when I look at this keyboard. It just looks like too hardcore for no reason. Like the person who uses this keyboard is trying so hard to look like hardcore that they're just over the top, and you just know immediately that it's just too much. That's the same kind of person that's going to wear an Affliction shirt. I'm sorry to anybody who used to wear Affliction shirts, including Cliff Bleszinski, who was the designer of Unreal and Gears of War, because he loved some Affliction shirts back in the mid-2000s. Rudy says, I want the stream to never end. Unfortunately, it has to end because I got to go. I got kids to take care of. My wife is probably going crazy right now. Justifiably so, because it's kind of nuts to take care of a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. Super hipster tactical. I actually would love to see things in the style of super hipster tactical. That'd be cool. Frosted tips, exactly, Beach Chow. I mean, all you got to do is look at an image of Cliff Bleszinski in that era. Where are we? Where is it? Okay, yeah, Frosted tips, Cliff Bleszinski. Yeah, there you go. I think that's an Affliction t-shirt right there. Basically that's the look. Anyway, that's enough. So, I guess I'm going to go back to the first keyboard I looked at, maybe. I'm ignoring you. I have to ignore you. I have to leave now, Summer. I'm sorry. You'll tell me about it in IRC. Anyway, I hope that was fun and interesting to you. It was definitely helped me to go through my options for solving the problems that I invented for myself. And maybe we'll see what keyboard I end up with in the next couple of weeks. But thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. Hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.